All right, hello everyone. This is I got my hands on what is perhaps one of the best games of Stormgate, or one of the best. Yeah, the series has one of the best games of Stormgate. So let's get into it. In the bottom left, and the blue in the semifinals of the Aureil Stormgate Invitational #1. His name is TheoRy. He's running up against the man in the upper left in the red. He's a Vanguard player. His name is Mixu. And I went and I didn't get a chance to cast a lot of this stuff live. I showed up for, I think, one series, but I reached out to Aureil after the series, the tournament was over, and I said, hey, Aureil, what were the good games? Like, there are a series I need to take a look at. I need to cast. What were they? And he said, you know what? We had a couple really good games, but if there is one series that you're going to cast today, or that you're going to cast, it's got to be TheoRy versus Mixu. They had at least one game that was one of the best things that we have seen. So, yeah, that's what we're doing this morning. And it's going to start out on Lost Hope. Of course, this is a best of 7 in the semifinals. You win, you move on to the grand finals. You lose, you get to play a 3rd and 4th place match. And the really cool thing about this tournament as well, when we talked about these setups, was that, so this was community funded. Aureil started with, I believe, $100. And by the time the tournament was over, the prize pool was north of like $750, I think it was. Kara LaForge donated $100, who of course is the business development person for Stormgate. You know, all over the place. Lots of community support. So if you're watching this now and you also help support it live, thank you so much. And if you didn't, well, I'm glad you're watching anyways, as we're going to take a look at exactly what it is that Mixu and TheoRy are interested in doing here on Lost Hope. Now, when we talk about Lost Hope, it all relies on these speed camps. And yeah, you know, they've been nerfed. They have absolutely been nerfed. They not quite as dominant as they once were, but a lot of this map very much is just dependent on who gets control of the speed camp, because that allows your reinforcements to show up into your opponent's main, or yeah, you're into your opponent's main base so much faster than they otherwise would. And Mixu, for his part, he's getting himself ready for this. So he's going to do this really cool thing that I want to say I first saw Mana do, but it very well could have been Mixu who innovated on this. But he's going Buzzsaw Cannon on the Luminite camp, and you see this happen on a lot of maps. Trick is, though, on this map, not only is it, hey, you know, you can go and get the Luminite camp, and that is a reasonably large amount of money to go get rather early on. On top of that, it enables pressure directly into TheoRy's base. If you cut through the trees, you can run a bunch of Lancers right in. And for now, TheoRy's like, okay, well, you got stuff on the map. You got this Buzzsaw turret. You're gonna have a barracks on the map here. Let me just undercut this a little bit. I know you don't have production. I know you sold your barracks early, so maybe I can make something happen in the main. And remember, it is important to point out here that Bobs were nerfed. Overcharged is about half as strong defensively as it once was. Even still, you put yourself into a corner. This army is small. There are Lancers here. It's not going to get what it needs. So TheoRy just threw a ton of stuff away. That's kind of the long and short of it. And I don't really think he killed all that much. He's got his natural on the way now. No ritual shrine. So Infest is going to be, it's going to be a ways away. And equally as importantly, this is a setup where TheoRy lost a lot of his units. And we're on double Rax Lancer. And the trees are going to get cut through right now. And it's like, well, TheoRy, you have no greater shrine. TheoRy, you're on like 2 brutes, 4 gaunts, which is not enough to deal with this. And I think TheoRy, because he just sacrificed so much stuff early and just didn't get enough done, I think he's probably just dead. He has enough energy for Hellspawn Resurgence. He'd love to have a Shroud Stone, but again, he's not on tier 2, so that doesn't really matter. And he's gonna go try and make sure these mobs go down, but it's not gonna happen. This is just long and short. This is a misplay from TheoRy that has been punished in the extreme, and now TheoRy is just dead. Game 1 is going to go to the way of Mixu, and that was not particularly close. So now we get to move into game number 2, and I really like what Aureil did there. Now I'm a little sad that Broken Crown is not in the map pool. I think it has given us some of our absolutely just the best games. But what Aureil did is they said, okay, well, look, we got Ruination that technically is in the ladder pool, but hasn't been in competitive pool just yet. And, you know, the ladder is 8 maps right now. We have Ruination. We have this Broken Crown Lite. Let's remove Boneyard. Let's remove one more map. I forget which one it was. And let's put Broken Crown Lite, let's put Ruination in their place instead, which is awesome. Because I think these maps, I think Ruination and Broken Crown Lite have a lot to teach us about, or just, they provide a lot of variability that maybe some other maps don't. Maybe he removed Broken Crown Regular. I forget. Anyways, not super relevant right now. Point is, we get to play on Broken Crown Lite. We get to see how these players are going to defend. And more importantly, we get to see if TheoRy can defend against the heavy Hedgehog or heavy Lancer pressure that is sure to come out. Because this map, especially, if you cut these trees down, which we see TheoRy doing, or Mixu doing, if you cut the trees down, the rush distance is super fast into what we assume is going to be TheoRy's natural. So that's got to be careful. And we're going to see him. He's going to fight early for these speed camps. And it's not even because he wants the speed camp. I mean, he does. That's awesome. But it's because he wants to make sure his opponent doesn't get the speed camps. Because if you give, a ravening horde of Hedgehogs, a ravening horde of Lancers, if you give them a speed buff, they're going to run into your natural and they're going to run right through your army. It's already hard enough to keep Gaunts alive. It's already hard enough to keep Gaunts alive if it's just regular Lancers. So you give them speed, it becomes much more complicated. And by the way, this will be some sort of, I mean, we're going to see Central Command go up. I think that is not on the way just yet. We're going to see Central Command on the way, though, eventually. That's what the Therium is for. But also, there will be a mech lab going down, and this is likely going to be a Hedgehog play. Just, again, we judge this off the Therium, and there we go. Mech Bay on the way, and we can see just how much TheoRy is interested in contesting this. He's spending all of his energy on the Hexen to slowly whittle some of these units down, which is also important to point out. There is no regen on this map. There is nothing to say that a Lancer that's at 193 HP, there's no way for it to recover. Well, okay. No way for it to recover short of a medtech or promote or something like that, but nothing on the map to give you that power, which means that, spending off this the Skull of Shed actually does matter a little bit. And for now, behind this, we do have, yep, there we go. So there's the full effigy. Of course, it was nerfed in the most recent patch. It's only 100 HP instead of 200, but TheoRy does have this kind of consistent area of Shroud that means he can just keep his units alive that much longer. And it's important to point out as well that brutes are more expensive than they used to be. Yeah, they micro a little bit better, but they do cost more. That TheoRy, though, he will get 2/3, 3/4 of the Mastiff, so he gets the money there. But for now, no one's really able to get the speed camp, and behind this, TheoRy's natural is done. He is mining from that. What we're waiting for really is the Hedgehog number to show up. So for now, he's got one. Of course, it is promoted. The Central Command is done. And once the Hedgehogs are out, especially once we have this sentry post that's going to be a repair-o-matic, once these Hedgehogs are out, it's very hard for the brutes to fight themselves. Brutes are heavy units, Hedgehogs do bonus damage to heavy, and, well, life just becomes very complicated as we see the, I guess that's supposed to be a brain. You get taken down by a second, but a Conclave finally getting added in. TheoRy being very efficient on his Luminite income for the brief period. Really only getting the one vault, building as many imps as possible, and now going double Conclave behind this. And I like what he's doing here as well. He says, you know what? Okay, I have this high ground. I know this is a high ground that you want to push into, Mixu. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get a Hellborn. And Hellborn, do they do a ton of damage? No, not really. They do 50. 50's reasonable. Med Station. Oh, love that. 50's reasonable, but it does mean it 5 shots a level 1 Hedgehog, right? It still has to 5-shot a level 0 Hedgehog. So it's not going to go, and by itself is not going to kill things. But you add a little bit of that damage on top, and that splash damage actually can matter quite a bit. So the Hedgehogs, they're going to poke around, take advantage of the fact that really there are 2 spots that TheoRy has to defend. There's this position, the speed camp right now, and then there's also, well, his natural that you can't let Hedgehogs run into. So now we got a Vulcan done. Now with Bobs on top of this, the mass repair is going to be there, and short of Weavers, this position's not going to get held. TheoRy has to back up. Do we have a Shroud Stone? We don't. And a Shroud Stone would be very, very useful right now. So we're going to see what exactly he's going to get a lash on. And it's going to be the med tech for now, but he's not going to target it down at first, and it's going to be promoted. It will be saved, just barely. Barely saved. And now a bunch of, oh no, brutes were clicked on it. They ran through, and now they're body blocked away. So that is, what is that? 300 Luminite down the drain. And the med tech's still here. The med tech is still happy. It's healthy. It's healing. It's doing everything that you could ever want it to do. And now with the sentry post on the high ground, it's a repair-o-matic. If you find your way, it can repair the low ground. And this hard push coming out of Mixu, it's gonna feel really difficult. Yeah, we got some imps, some fiends on counterattack, but there is the Weaver's dead. The Hellborn is soon to follow, and this army is just too strong. The Bob repair is just way too good, and Theory really did sell out. He really did sell out. I'm trying to hold the high ground, and the moment that he didn't hold that high ground, the game kind of ended. So Mixu, he's shown us two different aggressive timings. One single mech bay timing, right, eventually with the Vulcan, and he's shown us one double barracks play, and both of them have worked very well. So that means that Theory is down 2-0 in this best of 7. Let's see what he can do to come back. Now into game number 3, and once we move from, well, some very short maps. That's the long and short of it. Broken Crown is the shortest map in the pool by a significant margin. Now we move into one of the biggest maps in the pool. Isle Red is massive. I don't know what the rush distance main to main is. I have not actually gone and measured that, but it's long, it's big, it gives us these expansive macro games, and I think that that's going to be a nice change of pace. We've seen these two aggressive builds from Mixu. They worked out rather nicely, but I want to see the big macro game, right? We've had a couple of these between Theory and Mixu, and they tend to be very, very good. I think also Mixu, he's been iterating a lot. He's been iterating quite a lot on how you're supposed to play this late game, even just mid-game Vanguard play. Because, you know, you talk to some players, you talk to some Vanguards, and they're going to say, look, even though Weavers had a 1/3 HP haircut, even though that happened, Weavers are still really good and very difficult for the Vanguard player to beat. You know, that has not been my experience on ladder, I'll just tell you that. But it is what people are saying, you know, about playing like a laser and things like that. So Mixu's been hard at work. He's been in the lab. He's been working on things, figuring out exactly how to play this. And I'm excited to see. He's got some interesting ideas, is the long and short of it. So hopefully the game gets there. For now, though, Theory, he's going Conclave. Volt Conclave in the early game. He's going to go get that speed camp rather early, and he should be able to take over a lot of the map early because his opponent, Mixu, went command post first. That's very nice for your economy. You build Bobs every 17 seconds. That was a recent buff, or, you know, in the context of the lifespan of Stormgate, I guess it's not, but, you know, it was 6 weeks ago, less. So we're going to see Theory. He's going to take his speed camp because that is useful. That is easily addressable. And then immediately onto the other side of the map, his opponent's speed camp, and then you start creeping backwards because you know that your opponent has gone greedy. Well, they've gone macro. They've gone command post first. And because of that, you should be able to go steal their camp, creep backwards a little bit, see what you can do. For now, this single Lancer pokes his way around the corner, but yeah, I don't think a Bob and a Lancer, I don't think a Scout and a Lancer are quite what you need. So Sentry, we're going to see that go down. Mixu just preemptively making sure that he's okay. I don't think Theory's going to try to break this. It doesn't make sense to me. You don't have enough stuff. He might poke a little bit, see, yep, there's a buzzsaw. Okay, we're going to back up. And yep, exactly. That's exactly what happened. So the speed camp is Theory. He's actually got double buff, technically. Double passive, I guess, single active. And now, well, you creep backwards. You get the slam. You get the health slimes. You go and regenerate a little bit. You get yourself a couple fiends. And with all these guns, see, the light camps, they just disappear. All right. Shadow Mastiffs, slimes, they evaporate. They don't get to exist anymore. So a couple fiends go down, and Theories are going to go. Make sure he gets that passive healing, heals up the single gaunt that got a little bit low, and then, yeah, on to the Shadow Demon. So, yes, this continues on, meanwhile, as we take a look at what it is that's coming out of Mixu. He's got Lancer Dog, or Lancer Hog. There we go. He's building Lancers. He's building these hedgehogs, and this is going to be his map control play. So for now, in the early game, this was absolutely something that TheoRy had the advantage on. He built a bunch of gaunts. He built some brutes. He took his speed camp. He took his opponent's speed camp, took his opponent's health camp, took his opponent's vision camp. All of this is working to go and give him money on the map that was not mined. Of course, his natural is only just now done, and that means that his worker count is pretty significantly behind. So, you know, he's going and he's getting all this money off the map. But, you know, more does matter. It does matter that you are getting consistent income, not just the burst income of getting a bunch of camps. So he's actually going to double expand behind this. 445. His third shrine's going to go down. And we see also cutting through the trees. So he has just easy access onto these bases and doesn't really have to worry about like probably not going to happen, but some sort of like Atlas push or sentry post push on the left side that he can't easily address. You know, just opening some areas. Just opening some different attack patterns. And behind this, we got a ritual chamber done. Plague Axe is on the way. That'll be done very quickly. Not enough to get fiends off of this slime, but yeah, it's certainly enough to get fiends off of the vision camp, which is where he's gonna go just next. And as much as I love Isle of Dread, and as much as I am excited about these island maps, I think this is kind of showing us what Artosis was talking about. And not just Artosis, a bunch of people have been talking about this setup where it's like, okay, the first 5 or 6 minutes are very much PvE, and then you get into PvP a little bit more. And, you know, we're gonna see a little bit of that right now, but you know, even in StarCraft, it is relatively PvE early. Yeah, you know, Reaper versus drones, but I don't think when people are talking about they wanting interactive play, that's not exactly what they mean. You know, they're looking at more actual skirmishing. For now, though, this is pretty cool. Mixu, he's got double Vulcan in an evac, and we're gonna see some evac drops coming on down, some Vulcan traps, probably onto this double Luminite base, which is not incredibly well saturated. You know, we're working on it, but it's not incredibly well saturated, not just yet. And it looks like, yeah, this is something that TheoRy has found, he has seen. So while this drop is likely to eventually arrive, for now, Mixu is gonna pull it back into a corner, doesn't want to lose it, and if his opponent is expecting it, less likely to get some damage done. So that's going to be deferred. Oh, actually adding in a Hornet as well. So some sort of Spriggan follow on, which, you know, you'd have to open 2-base Spriggan for Spriggans to be out on the map right now. But as it stands, he's going to have this Hornet leading the evac. So any sort of Spriggan play is not going to be particularly good at dealing with that. TheoRy roughly knows where this is. His skull did see that. Actually, he's got a Weaver on the map as well. So if he's not careful, if Mixu is not careful, one of the Vulcans can get lashed away, taken down, and that's gonna be fine. So for now, dashes in, gets the stun, and we're gonna have this Weaver here, but he picks up, he misses, or doesn't miss. He disjoints. That is so very cool. So there's some tech that used to exist where you could dash out of a Weaver lash. If you saw the lash coming to your Vulcan, you could dash right then, and it would actually disjoint the Weaver. It would disjoint the lash. You would dodge it. And apparently that is not a thing anymore. I haven't really sat down and really tried it, but I've been told that's not really tech anymore. However, as these Weavers or these Vulcans are very not happy about where they are at the moment. That's not where they would like to be. So this Vulcan will eventually go down. It's a bubble there. It's just going to find as much value as possible. Meanwhile, a couple Shadow Flyers trying to chase this thing, but they're back to return to hangar and barely return to hangar region keeps this evac alive. Mixu makes sure to drop the Vulcan out, but it's gonna be fine anyways. And the game goes on. Sentinel now on the map as well, adding in haste spot dispersal eventually. But for right now, it's for the stasis run, right? This ability to lock down these scant few high-tech units that the Infernal player has. Eventually, TheoRy is gonna be able to afford a lot of Hellborn, or a lot of Weavers, or a lot of anything, really. But for right now, he's only on 2 Therium. He's not taking the double Therium camp. He's not taking the double Therium base here. So he doesn't have a lot of tech, or a lot of tech income, I guess is the way to talk about that one. He's got a reasonable amount of gaunts, sure. He's got a couple weavers, but there's no Elder Shrine just yet. He's adding in the Shadow Cleft. You know, we got Flaming Imps, which is something that TheoRy actually plays into quite a bit because they're a very solid answer. They actually turn out to be a rather nice answer to deal with the Graven Harass later on that Mixu loves to build in. But for right now, this attack onto this 4th base, I think it's going to get managed. I don't really think too much is going to happen here, but Mixu, he's showing off some micro, right? He's got the evac, but with the Gaunts getting on top of things, I don't think this is going to work out. In fact, this feels like a bit of a mistake for Mixu right now. He's got this big supply lead, but this is not the entirety of his army. So is he going to lose? Oh, let's come back home with the evac. Sentinel returns home. Vulcan is able to get out, but the medtech's done, and yeah, we're going to see a decent amount of this army get taken down. Mixu still got the supply lead, but given what TheoRy is doing right now, that's kind of fine, right? He's macroing up. He's got his Elder Shrine on the way. He is investing in things that don't necessarily show in supply, although as I say that, it's not like you want to take this fight right now. That's a lot of Graven, and well, we're going to see the sticky bombs go down. Yes, some of them will be abducted, some of the lashes will connect, but the sticky bomb reduces so much damage coming out of TheoRy's army, and it does damage to TheoRy's army, and it slows down his retreat. Fighting into these Graven is just, at this game state, at this tech state, it doesn't feel the best. So for now, TheoRy's, he's going to have the effigy, and he's going to hold on to this position, and he's going to send a Spriggan over to take the other Luminite camp, and that's always going to be really nice. But this army just doesn't look big enough. We're going to have to see. Maybe I'm wrong, and certainly some Graven are going to get taken down, but he's not fighting on Shroud at the moment, so not a ton of Fiend conversions either, and Infest not uniformly applied to everything. And that means as these units try to retreat, because the sticky bomb does last a while, well, there's no way to retreat. So TheoRy, he's got there we go, that shrine on the double Therium. He's spending Animus to go and make sure that he gets as much Therium income as humanly possible, based in the upper left side as well. So his economy is about to be where it wants to be. So we're gonna see the nano bubble go down. 75% of range damage just removed from the fight. And that's just not a position that TheoRy really wants to attack into. So he's going to kite back, drag some of these Lancers forward. And as they're out of the bubble, they don't care about the safety. And now, potentially, he can dive on top of this. Get inside the bubble. The damage not being mitigated if you share a space inside the bubble. So the Gaunts are going to move forward. We got Spriggans on top. That's going to be a dead... not Vulture. What am I saying? That's going to be a dead Vulcan as well. A couple of these Graven get taken down. And TheoRy takes a fight that didn't look great at the start, but once he's able to break that front line down, the back line does not last nearly in the same way. So once again, we're going to see this fight moving forward, and well, yeah, we're going to see some stuff, right? Spriggans Graven get taken down, certainly, but these Weavers, these really important tech units, you don't really want to fight without the Weavers for a couple reasons. Not only is Hedgehog anti-air is a problem, you gotta run away here, Spriggans, but not only because you do not want to fight because you lack the lash. Weavers are also anti-air, or not anti-air, excuse me. Weavers are also detection. It means that while detection works in such a way that the moment you're attacking, you lose invisibility. Even still, being able to go and say interact with the Graven before they start attacking, be able to lash them before they start attacking, is a very, very important thing. So for now, a bunch of Graven are going to try to show up on this outlying base. Flaming Imps are going to deal with them very nicely, and a Shroudstone Manifest should be able to deal with the rest. The Spriggans are going to arrive, but these Hogs are relatively low, all things considered. We're going to see, yep, there we go. Explosions go down. There is going to be Nanobot, but that's just going to force things out for now. It's going to be fine. Yes, one Spriggan has died. Yes, another one got stasis, but this is going to be okay for the most part. You can lash things out of the nano bubble, and this is going to be soundly defended. And again, we're in this situation where Mixu wins the fights in the middle of the map. Absolutely. What he's not winning just yet, and maybe not ever, I don't know, is fights on Shroud, on fights on Theory's side of the map. When Defender's Advantage does exist, is we're going to see a couple Atlases pop out, which is cool. I think Atlases are very viable now with the changes that they made. But this Atlas on the middle of the map with a 0 support and 0 evacs, that is not a solution. It just gets targeted even before the Lashes arrive, even before the Weavers arrive. It's going to get taken down, and you add in the Dragon on top of things. And this might be Theory's opportunity right now. His army has finally reached the point where he is, I think, reasonably satisfied with it. It's not massive. He's still down about 25 supply, but he has the complexity that is required to, I think, deal with this army. Now, attacking into a bunch of sieged up hedgehogs, your Dragon dies very fast. They got transonic rockets. They have insane range. It's 13 range. Sorry, 14 range, 14 and a half range. It's massive. You don't really want to fight into this. So the Weavers, they're going to be forced to teleport back. We do have a Harbinger getting added in. I think this is just for Shroud, but I would love to see Seismic Slam get researched. And yep, there we go. Okay, Seismic Slam getting added in. Conceptually, this is super cool. Yeah, coming from a flank angle, you stun the army. You add a ton of Shroud because Seismic Slam also 50%, I think it is, more Shroud coverage from the slam down. But man, this is so many Graven. Yes, Flaming Imps are going to take down the outlying 4 or 5, but there's so much more where that came from. Even still, Dragon goes and infests them all. And Mixu, I think he does have to get out of here. This is a big army that I don't know that he can. I don't know that he. It's a big army. It's a great army to fight defensively. I don't know that it fights offensively just yet. Now that the sticky bombs are making it impossible to run through this Shokin, the answer is absolutely it fights offensively right now. That nano bubble makes it just so hard for the Dragon, for the Graven, for anything to really properly take this fight. But now the Sentinels are going to go down. The bubble's dead, and yes, there are. Oh well, I was talking about how cool it would be for a Harbinger, but we're looking at 7-8 hedgehogs firing up into the sky. I mean, good luck. So the Graven move forward, 25 damage a shot against the Weavers, and they are just taking them down. More Weavers, they're going to get teleported into the fight, but this position is very hard for Theory to attack into it. With the sieged up hedgehogs, with the sticky bombs, not an easy thing. So Mixu for now is going to rotate on over to this base, and mass infiltrate means that this base is gonna go down, and because there are so many Graven, we're talking like 25 Graven. The Flaming Imps, it would have been better just to not spend the Therium, honestly. The Flaming Imps, they die as they turn on, and you know, if you just not spent the money, you would have lost him anyways, but you would have been happier, is kind of the long and short of it. Meanwhile, Mixu, he takes down Theory's base. He does. But he also establishes his own. So Theory is N-1 base. He has all base but one that he would like to have on the map right now. Mixu has every single base on the map that he would like to have. So Mixu on the left side, he does have a lot of Graven. He will lose those, and this is not something he wants to lose right now. He doesn't necessarily have the bank to max out to lose all those Graven, but I think he's going to be okay with it because, yes, he lost 8 Graven, but he has gone and killed the double Therium base on the right side. This position that Mixu is built for, or that Theory has, that is so important to his economy, is now gone. And in late game, Infernals, it's not about the Luminite. It is a little bit, obviously. You do need Luminite, but it is so about your Therium reserves, your ability to go and build these Weavers and these Hellborn and a Dragon for 750 Therium and everything else. It's so important to be able to have those that Mixu, by taking this base down, and also I believe he infiltrated it, so not only did he take the base, but he stole 200 from Theory on top of things. That is a lot of money at this stage in the game. So the nano bubble is going to go down. And this position, I mean, attacking into this position is Theory feels really, really hard. Hellborn shelling away, but again, they're in this situation where it's a nano bubble. That being said, Sticky Bomb dragged on top of this army. That is a beautiful thing. They're not getting targeted down. until finally they are even still running, chasing through the sticky bombs. Doesn't feel all that great. You need to go reconnoiter, reconfigure your attack, and now attacking it once again. Sticky bombs this time. Okay, maybe onto a couple grave, and they will get targeted down. And now the Sentinels falls. The speed buff is gone. And look at this, Miasma getting dropped into the fight as well. Not something that we see all that often, but it is adding just a little bit of damage on some of these units. Another way to imply invest without really having to have Shroud there. And now we're going to move this position forward. Also, by the way, Shroud upgrades are done, so the effigy lasts so much further forward. And it looks like TheoRy's starting to break through here just a little bit. Dragon gets low, but the Hedgehogs, they're going to be able to stay out of range for the time being. More lashes going down, taking down more of these Hedgehogs, more of these Graven, and TheoRy. Is he going to be able to bust through this? It looks like he's making headway. But this medtech turret, these repairomatics, they are doing so much in keeping the army alive. And as the Hedgehogs, they siege up, they unsiege, they re-siege, they're zoning this dragon out. So even as this position looks okay, it looks possible for TheoRy. Looks like he's doing a reasonable job of finding his way forward. Mixu has production on the front lines. TheoRy does not. And he lost the dragon too. So that is, man, that is so much to lose. That's so much. 90 damage. 90 damage to units, 140 damage to structures. Losing that when you're trying to break this push is massive. And remember, look at where the production is for TheoRy. It's outside of his third base. It's in his main base. The rally time to go try to crack this base is so much longer. The rally distance is so much longer than it is for Mixu, who has triple mech bay like right at the front line, and a couple more barracks sitting right behind. So TheoRy almost broke through that until he didn't, and now he was kind of all in on this. He never rebuilt the right side base. He never rebuilt the double therium, and yes, he is maxed out once again, or not maxed out, but he has his supplies reasonable once again. But look at what the quality is. It's just brutes. It's brutes with no upgrades. It's just not really a thing. He's gone and he's invested it in another dragon. That's where all of his animus were. That's where all of his therium, all of his luminite went. That's just what you're looking at. But that means this dragon has to do work, because it's not what, almost 4 Hellborn. It's not 4 Weavers. The dragon has to do work. TheoRy has to reestablish this base, but he doesn't really have the luminite to afford 350 plus the imp. It's too expensive. So TheoRy now is in a bit of a rough spot, and I think as we take a look at the map state right now, this position, it's 2 repairomatics. It's 3 more sentry posts. I'm assuming we're going to see a med turret go down. This position on the left side is not nearly as strong. Yeah, it's got a med station. Yeah, it's got another sentry post. Yes, it's got a barracks, but it's not nearly as heavily defended as this position on the right side is. So I would love to see TheoRy go and try to find a different angle. Maybe attack through here, but you're kind of worried about being surrounded. But this is a base with multiple attack angles. Take advantage, or this is a map with multiple attack angles. Take advantage of that, I think, is probably the play. But for now, we got pressure. We're going to see these shroud stones get taken out maybe just a little bit. You know, a little bit more pressure there. And the med turret, the med station, means that this pressure is going to be pretty unabated. Other things to take a look at. I kind of wish TheoRy had some Wraith Stones. Because, you know, 2 reasons. First of all, Wraith Stones, they slow things down. And that means that Flaming Imps are very useful against a bunch of Wraiths. Or with Wraith Stones work very nicely, because, well, you slow things down, you do percentage damage, and then the Flaming Imps attack on top. It's very good. And we're just going to see another nano bubble go down, which means you got to disengage. And more of the sticky bombs are going to fall. In TheoRy, not really the greatest position he would like to be in. He's going to run through the bubble now, and he's going to force Mixu back. But again, this army is just not quality. It's a lot of brutes. They really struggle to bring themselves to bear. And this position, it doesn't feel bustable right now. This feels, I mean, first of all, it looks like we're in box art mode. We got a couple ambush turrets even. A couple ambush posts to just periodically drop more sticky bombs. And this just doesn't feel breakable. I really think you got to attack through the left side. Even if it means losing this double therium base, I think that has to happen. I mean, that's going to be a great nightfall. That's a slow that can work out very nicely. And even the stasis drone to try to buy some time, but it doesn't really matter. You know, again, getting some of this is nice. The Flaming Imps are going to try to make further connections, just getting targeted down, and now, well, this base is dead because there's nothing really to contest the Graven. Well, maybe not. Nope, they're going to blink out. So more Flaming Imps are going to get targeted down. Graven just beat Gaunt's in this low numbers. And the fight on the left side, oh, it feels really awkward. It's a bit of mismicro from TheoRy. He runs away. I guess he's just trying to get the Luminite camp, but this is just not the fight you want to take. These sticky bombs are way too strong in this setup. And we're seeing so many of these units go down. And meanwhile, left side, the base is dead. Mass infiltrate. So not only is the base dead, minus 200, minus 200. So much of TheoRy's economy just double hindered by losing the base and by getting infiltrated like that. And by the way, these Gaunts are starting to get even, well, never mind. Flaming Imps are going to take him down. I was going to say they're starting to get even more. They're taking Imps. And you know, the funny thing is, if you have to spend Flaming Imps to kill the Graven, you are still technically losing economy. So for now, Army is going to continue to move forward. In theory, he seems to think that this is what he has to do. So Sticky Bomb's not really going to land at the time being. And man, attacking into this, double mid station, triple repair or double repairmatic, double ambush post. I mean, I don't see how you're supposed to break this. This just doesn't feel possible. The damage is not sticking. You're getting Sticky Bomb to all hell. Even just the Sim City makes life really hard. Oh god, the Sticky Bombs really hurt. The Weaver's just dragging them right into things. More Sticky Bombs are going to go down, and a bunch of things are just going to pop. This is just not the fight. This does not feel the fight. And again, we got a couple Graven on the other side dealing with a long distance mining. So TheoRy, long distance mining, that's not going to be allowed. He's losing supply there. He's being hindered at the front here. The one thing he's got going for himself is this dragon, but the Hedgehogs are in mass anti-air mode, and they're just, look how far these things shoot. It's a massive problem, and the moment you lose your shroud, your white health, you just gotta back up. And attacking backwards and forward like this, that Atlas not seized up, but now Atlases are starting to get some damage done as well. And remember, Atlas are maybe the Atlas are the best siege unit in the game. Atlas, because you can pick them up. Atlas versus Sabers, it goes both ways, but Atlas versus Hellborn, 100% goes the Atlas's way. Unfortunately, nothing really to keep this one alive. No evac there, and it was kind of on the front lines. And this Hellborn siege, well, it's kind of all that TheoRy has remaining. He's lost a ton of him. He's lost pretty much every imp long distance mining. His economy just doesn't exist, and these Hellborn are the only thing that's going to remain. So in about 27 minutes, 26:30 in this game, yeah, TheoRy's going to get taken down. This was a very cool game coming out of Mixu in TheoRy, but at the end of the day, TheoRy, with this tunnel vision to try to break this position of Mixu, he broke himself on the wall, on the rocks, and that means that Mixu goes up 3-0. So now we move into game number 4, and Mixu's up 3-0. He has looked so good, but on every side of the coin, aggressively. His early aggression worked out perfectly. The late game, untouchable. So now we're gonna have to see how exactly Mixu or TheoRy is gonna bounce back if he can. So for now, it's gonna be a vault opening, or was this? Yeah, just a vault opening coming out of TheoRy. This is gonna enable him, of course, to go take as many camps as possible. And I think we're gonna see, yeah, okay, this is actually super cool. So we're gonna see a couple things. First of all, Mixu's gonna go and he's gonna creep with double Bob Scout. Of course, this repairs, and then he's gonna go send a Lancer as well. In fact, he's gonna send one overcharged Bob on over to repair the Bobs that are low, and eventually we should see a Lancer. Yeah, Lancer should, well, eventually we should see a Lancer, but he's gonna build a couple Scouts first. This ability to go and what is it, +5? Yeah, bonus damage to creeps. In fact, +8 versus light creeps is quite nice, right? This is something that is very, very useful. It does unlock a little bit more creeping in the early game for Vanguard players, which is something they sorely needed. To be clear, Vanguard players were just not able to creep in the same way that the other two factions were, and that really did hinder their early game, and that was not great. So the health camp is of course taken down, and because of this, we're going to see Mixu go do some very cool things. So first of all, he's going to cut these trees down. And cutting the trees down, of course, means there's circulation between the Therium camp and the Luminite camp. And he's going to put the sentry post right in the middle, which means that he's going to be able to go and kill both camps pretty much for... It's going to take a while because, you know, these bruisers have a lot of armor. Let me see if I can go and get him to... There we go. You know, 5 armor and 800 HP versus 20 damage per shot of the... well, I guess 18 damage a shot from the saw launcher. So you're doing really like 16 damage with 5 armor, something like that. It's going to take a while. It's just the long and short of it. You will eventually kill it off, and it's effectively free otherwise. So that's going to happen. Meanwhile, TheoRy double expanding here very early on. He's got the natural and, well, third shrine getting started before 3 minutes. Reminder, the first time he double expanded on Isle of Dread, it was a 445 third base. This one is just as greedy as possible. You get your couple camps, that fuels your expansion pattern, and you just try to leapfrog into the early game or into the mid game as quickly as possible. So for now, TheoRy, again, we're talking about creeping a little bit. He's going to take the Therium camp. That's always going to be rather nice. It also means that he's going to be able to get into a Greater Shrine rather quickly as he's doing so. Greater Shrine just about done. This is, of course, a bug where when you haven't been looking at the Greater Shrine and you kind of go back and take a look at it, sometimes it shows as fully the Greater Shrine, sometimes it shows as the regular Shrine. It's in production. That's an observer bug more so than anything else, just to be clear. But now we got 3 shrines done. 3 imps on the way at a time. Shroud stones getting dropped down here just to be safe as possible. And this is why I really like these brood openings. Yes, broods are more expensive. Yeah, they're 125 instead of 100, and that is a pretty heavy nerf to the Infernal early game. This is true. But even still, opening Vault means that you're not spending Therium early, which means that all your money's going to Luminite, which means you can afford more imps, which means you can afford more which means you have more Luminite, which means you snowball faster, you skyrocket faster. So for now, we do have the mech bay done, and I love this scout from TheoRy. Just put Skull Shadow north side, sees what he can see, because he knows the camps have been taken. Maybe he can do something more about that. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too far away, so he's not going to be able to steal the Luminite camp. This is an all-in coming out of Mixu right now. He's only on a 1 base. He's got the Vulcan on the... Where is it? Yeah, Vulcan running across. And I'm assuming some mobs are going to get deputized soon enough. So, Medtech, Vulcan, do we have a sentry post? Yeah. Not here just yet, but it's going to be on the way. And this pressure coming out of Mixu is very scary, but it's something that has been scouted. And because of the game that TheoRy has been choosing to play, he's going to have double Lash here. He's going to have double Weaver before this even gets started. And yes, one Weaver's going to go and get stunned just a little bit, and it's going to have to go and... I think it's actually stuck here. It was stunned, of course. We saw that one, but even once the stun was done, it wasn't able to move. So, weird bug right there. So, which means the Weaver will go down. That's unfortunate. There are still 2 here. And that means that theoretically... Well, yeah, there we go. It stays alive. That means that theoretically this Vulcan shouldn't be long for this world. As we're going to see a second conclave complete rather soon, and with 7 on Therium, you're going to be able to get up another Weaver rather quickly, which is the key to this. Getting up 3, 4 Weavers, something like that. That matters. So for now, we're going to see, yes, the med tech gets abducted. That matters a lot. That means there will be no med station. That means that these Lancers damage is going to stick on top of them. And now with no safety bubble as well, that means, well, these Vulcans are going to fall down. And that means that this all-in is dead. It's gone. It's not going to work out anymore. The stuns are done. The Vulcan... Yeah, the Vulcan, yeah, it's just going to get surrounded. It's going to try to maybe get a little bit more damage, but it will not be able to go and make sure these fiends fall down in time. So it's dead. Everything's going to fall down here. And this is a beautiful defense for TheoRy. His early game was suffering a little bit. You know, he got all in twice and he got broken twice. But on Broken Crown, he saw what's happening early enough. He got units out quick enough. And now, well, he's just... kind of in a really good spot. That is the long and short of it. He's on 3 bases. Mixu on a 1. We're not even seeing... Okay, there we go. Now Bob's going to get deputized into the natural to quick build. But that's gonna... It's 7 minutes in and the natural's not even started. Well, I guess technically it's started now, but it's not going to be done before 7:15. And TheoRy is reasonably saturated, nearly fully saturated on 3 bases. His economy is just uncountably better, and he's just going to go get his 4th base too. It would be very tempting right now for TheoRy to run across the map and try to go kill his opponent. And I would totally understand that. Absolutely 100%. I would understand that move. But that's also the only way he loses the game. If he runs into a bunch of sentry posts and, you know, maybe there's a couple more Vulcans and they get repaired and things don't die, and all of a sudden TheoRy loses on his Weaver bust, and it's like, yeah, you know, maybe I didn't want to do that. So instead, he's just going to go take his 4th base. And he's going to continue to macro up here. He's going to build a much bigger army, swing out his tech that much more, get the upgrade, get Gaunt upgrades if he has not already. And you know, we do need Reaper's Rush. Now, for now, it looks like the space on the right side is going to be contested. You know, bonus damage versus structures. It does exist. And yeah, more importantly, TheoRy was in no position to properly address that. But, you know, hey... When every door closes, another door opens, and in this case, yeah, the base on the right side, that's not going to be a thing. That's going to get taken down, but base in the middle, it's 2 bases for the price of 1. And if TheoRy can hold on to this one, I was going to say the game is already kind of over, but the game will especially be over here. So for right now, TheoRy's on 3 bases to 2. If he takes this middle, he fully saturates it. It'll be 5 bases to 2. And if you're at 5 bases to 2, there is not a whole hell of a lot that Mixu is going to be allowed to do in this game. So, you know, he's getting himself ready for tier 3. He's got the hangar done. This may be for drops or something, but it's going to be for Atlases. That's pretty cool. And in fact, his high command is already done because he did have the machine lab. Fair play. And we're going to see some Atlas drops attempted. You know, bonus projectile speed. It does feel a lot better for Atlas play right now, but it's not a question of whether that is a good thing. It's a matter of if it's enough of a good thing. Because again, yeah, you know, Atlases are great. Atlas drops are really solid, but we're going to have 8 Gaunts and a Harbinger onto some prospective 3rd base. We're going to have this massive army attacking on the front as well. It's going to be an attack on 2 angles, and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. In fact, even the attempted sentry post buzzsaw turret thing, that's not going to work out. A couple Craven on the right side, and there is no detection here, right? No Shroud Stones. That is important to point out. I don't know if we have... I mean, Sticky Bomb's going to go and get damage done. Not kill. It almost one-shots the imps, and he's getting a lot of damage done. But TheoRy, it seems like he's had enough of this. He's like, look, I am up double the supply, even if I'm losing every imp at my 3rd base, which he's lost a lot of them. That's a lot of dead economy, but it does not matter because attacking at the front, that is what matters here. And I am not totally sure that there is going to be a defense. Atlases, they're going to get dropped. They're going to do some damage, and they're going to be hard to kill. As we saw earlier, you can dodge the lashes. But our 2 Atlases, are they going to do enough? I just think the answer is no. I don't think they kill enough. I don't care who you are. There's just not quite enough damage. You know, again, drops off. It kills off a Weaver. Sure, it does. It's going to get more damage done. Gaunts are going to fall down here. But the Atlas is dead. Magmadon is stomping, just getting that much more damage done on all the Bobs in the natural. And Mixu, he tries really hard. But this is TheoRy striking back for the first time in this series. So now we move into Titan's Causeway, another small map, and as we've seen in this series, for the most part, Mixu has shown a lot of ability. A lot of power in these short map scenarios. So we're going to have to see exactly how he decides to play this. Let's see how this is going to go. So for now, it's double Bob overcharge with the scout that's going to go take the health camp. You know, we talked about this, how It's kind of cool. I know it's funny. Artosis in his video is like, yeah, I optimizations on taking creep camps once are really cool, but once you've seen it, you've seen it. And that is true, but it is, for right now, it is kind of cool to see every patch. Mixu optimizes things, makes things a little bit more powerful. And I like what TheoRy's doing as well. It's probably is worth the Skull of Shedda spending that as well, because it messes with things. It slows down the timing of Mixu just a little bit. And, you know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds at this level of play between when Army runs onto the other side of the map, that might make the difference. So for now, the health camp's going to get taken down, probably into a speed camp. That is how this generally is going to look to go. And ooh, Bob in the center. So actually, what we're going to see here is I think we're still going to get the speed camp taken, but Bobs are going to cut through the middle and they're going to go build a sentry post. And that is going to be Mixu's next move. He's building Lancers, 1 Lancer at a time off a single barracks. There's no natural, but he's doing that. And so he's going to go get the speed camps right now. That's going to be fine. 2 Lancer, 2 Scout absolutely clears this down, especially if you can get the Mastiffs lined up so you're getting splash damage properly, which, not quite, but he's getting there. And now there's a sentry post up in the middle of the map. And so what this likely turns into, so speed camp gets taken, right? That much is a guarantee. Both players are working on it. But then he's going to buzzsaw post the center base. And when he does that, there we go, buzzsaw goes down. This likely turns into just a reasonably sized push through the middle of the map. So TheoRy, though, knows what Mixu's up to, and he says, I'm going to contest this too, but I don't like this. He's fighting into a buzzsaw turret. He's fighting into a bunch of very fast scouts. He's fighting into a bunch of Lancers as well, and I don't think this works out. I think you take so much splash damage. You take 25 on your gaunts from the buzzsaw turret. Like that is a reasonable amount. And they're going to go down to the Lancers anyways. This is a unmitigated disaster for TheoRy right now. Instead of maybe creeping your vision camp and having a natural and building more army units, instead, not only did you fail to contest, not only is the Illuminite camp going to go to your opponent anyways, you lost your entire army. And that's just really not a good situation to be in. One of these Lancers may eventually fall down. Yeah, it's going to go, but the other 2 are pretty happy. And behind this, what do we have? Anything? The answer is nothing in production. I'm a bit surprised right there, to be honest. But anyways, meat farm's going to go down. Not that is really going to matter all that much. And there's the mech bay right in the center. It's going to be a hedgehog. That's the start. And then we're going to see that Vulcan get dropped down once the machine lab is done. And once the machine lab is done, we're going to see the Vulcan. We're going to see a couple Bobs. And I believe we're just going to see the same type of all-in that we saw in game 2, I believe it was. And because TheoRy has lost so much in this early game, I don't know how much I don't know that he's going to be able to hold this. In fact, he's dead right now. It doesn't even matter what's going to be on the follow-up. Mixu takes the series 3-1, but man, game 3 was one of the coolest games that I have seen. Even if some of the others were very, very cheesy early on, game 3 was very good. But of course, if you like this and you want more Stormgate action, normally Monday through Friday, it's been a little scant right now. I do apologize, but make sure to go sub to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitch, where you can catch a lot of stuff live. And I'll see you next time. See you then.